Hell, it's Base Trade TV.
Okay, here we are in the game. We have Jade going out with the pro very early once again. We just tidy up that scoreboard. So let's get the introductions out of the way real quick. Spawning in the top left location on Neo Destination, it's going to be My Insanity's Jade.
And spawning in the bottom right location, going to be surprised by a proxy soon, is Starbow's ButtPluggen.
I was kind of expecting ButtPluggen to do some cheeky stuff too, honestly. I thought that would have been a great, hilarious way to entertain game number 2, but...
No, actually ButtPluggen keeping it straight now, which is...
I was going to see the probe too.
Sorry, just that sentence I just said. His name... Okay, I'm gonna try and forget that. But he's gonna spot that right away, so this is even more awkward, I feel.
For ButtPluggen though, it's like, do you pull out of probes to kill the pylon early? Do you just try and physically block with the gateway can come down? Or do you just try and outclass your opponent? And for Jade at this point, he didn't cut workers like you normally would. Well, actually, he has cut workers, I take that back. But he's getting a pylon back at home. I don't think he's gonna dedicate too heavily to this.
Oh no, he's not gonna get this up at all because you know ButtPluggen has his gateway almost half done already. So right now, ButtPluggen can just go back to mining and he's just fine because even if like Jade puts up 2 gateways, you know,
it doesn't matter.
He can just put up another gateway and he will have to produce him in zealots because he's gonna get it out earlier and he's home.
So shut down a little bit awkward, down a single probe at this point. Might be down 2 if he loses this one on the other side of the map, but beyond this, it's like what do you do to dial back off this? You got caught with your pants down. You didn't have to dedicate to it though, so it's not like Jade's already all in. But his plan was revealed, and ButtPluggen's going to be looking for this for every game for the rest of the series, I think.
Also, this is actually quite big, I feel, because they both know that Blink Stalkers is the way to go. And right now, ButtPluggen has a good advantage. Like, he's so far ahead now because of that one pylon and that one worker that was traveling all the way over the map. So, and when they have mirror matchup with the same builds and one is ahead of the other one, it doesn't really matter how much he's ahead. It's going to put him in a good spot.
Right, but hang on a sec, because unlike regular StarCraft 2, there's the difference of that high ground advantage. You can be down stalkers as long as you get like 1 or 2 volleys from the high ground. That could change the fight around. Whereas in regular StarCraft, if you're down a stalker, there's no difference. You're just simply down a stalker, period.
And I was gonna say, not trying to sound too biased towards one game or another, but that's one of the things I just couldn't stand with StarCraft 2, especially PvP, is that you had no defender's advantage. Well, you had your probes you could pull. That was about it, and that just felt so unfair to me. Like, okay, you macro a tad better than me, I lose.
I think personally, not a fan of the high ground advantage because it doesn't make sense to me, but I like that it's there because it adds that another dynamic to the game that doesn't otherwise exist. And it's another reason to give Starbow a try because you're like, look, maybe I actually enjoy the hell out of this. Maybe I'm not like Rifkin and I love the high ground advantage. But like I said, the thing is, while I might not like the idea itself, I love the dynamic it brings to the game. I love the way it changes the matchup in such a critical way that all of a sudden you have to play differently around different terrain parts of the map.
It does open up for some very interesting avenues, and that's what I love. I just love the fact that even though I have a smaller army than my opponent, I can actually defend this. Just that fact itself is what I really love about Starbow and Brood War, for that matter. That's one of the things that really turned me off StarCraft 2, actually.
Did you like the movie 300 as well?
I actually haven't seen that, but
the movie is exactly what you're describing right now. Is that entire movie? You need to go watch that.
Probably. I've heard a lot about it though. I'm not.
Oh my god! Can I hang on? How do I kick you off this? Okay, you get out of here. You're done. No, I'm just kidding. But
what are you talking about?
No, you should. You should honestly. Anyone who hasn't seen that movie, even though it's like actually, it's weird to consider how old it is right now. But like, man, that movie was badass when it came out, and I still get like nerd chills thinking about it. Anyways, Defender's Advantage might actually come into effect here. You can blink up to the high ground, sure, but the reality is, if you, like I said, all it takes is one volley from the low ground, and all of a sudden, Jade's gonna have an advantage.
You see what the new metagame here of PvP Starbow is?
4-gate versus 3-gate.
It's 4-gate versus 4-gate.
4-gate.
I'm face palming over here. I can't believe this happened in Starbow.
Yeah, congratulations. You let this happen. You let 4-gating become a thing.
we already nerfed it in our test map, and it's gonna get into the main game soon too. Believe me.
All right. Well, Zealot gonna pause straight out here for the time being. Stalkers ready to blink up, but the reality is you want to always be ready to blink down, not necessarily ready to blink up. So the positioning on this, it's because ButtPluggen's playing blind, but this is foolish for him to try and even engage. He's gonna lose one of his stalkers right away.
I like the fact that you blink up and then you wait a little bit so you can let the cooldown run, so you can blink down really fast once you start moving in.
That's what I mean, like just having that cooldown ready. But correct me if I'm wrong, isn't blink on a longer cooldown in Starbow?
It's 10 seconds now, which I don't know what the time is in StarCraft 2.
No.
To be honest,
I don't know
play
what it is
StarCraft 2 at all almost anymore.
Here's the cooldown of blink. Too early, too much, too soon. I'm a Terran player. I hate it. So.
Well, in Starbow or StarCraft 2?
StarCraft 2.
Okay.
I've luckily, the few games I've played of Starbow, I've actually not had to deal with Protoss. It's been TVZ or TVT all the way for me.
Well, Blink Stalker doesn't really do that much in TVP anyway, because you go mech, and mech are armored, and Stalker is horrible versus armored. Like, even Vultures.
I know, like, I watch
Stalkers.
BC, and I just want to go, like, all these fast tanks, but it doesn't work versus freaking Zerg.
No, not versus Zerg, no.
Big blink on the low ground, though, combined with some Zealots, going to actually give ButtPluggen a little bit of an advantage here. If you can snipe off a couple more of these Stalkers on the retreat, that'd be really nice. A lot of these are really low for Jade, and we do see ButtPluggen giving chase. Now, the Zealots unfortunately start falling behind, and at this point, this is where he has to kind of peel off, too. Because it's almost like the Mutalist game in ZVZ. You don't quite know if your opponent has more than you, so it's really risky to engage. But if you got those Zealots on the front lines, you guarantee, at the very least, those will be soaking hits instead of your precious Stalkers. But still 4-gate to 4-gate. The one actually very significant difference, though, is that speed for the Zealots on the way for ButtPluggen. Having Zealots involved in the fight is going to be huge.
Especially if you can get that speed up before the next attack, like what Jade couldn't get last time. Another actually important difference is that Jade has 22 workers and ButtPluggen only has 17, and ButtPluggen has stopped making workers completely, which I really disagree with.
Well, he's actually gone for a Dark Templar too while this is happening, and Jade has no detection. He's getting a Forge now. Oh, actually, I like this expansion a lot, because he knows his natural. There's no way he lives in a natural. I actually really like where he chose to take this, but that being said, he's only going to have very limited detection, and it's not going to take much for ButtPluggen to really do a bit of damage. And even if these Dark Templar are for naught, he can turn into an Archon. It'll soak some hits.
That's about all it does, but yeah.
Okay, I like this timing too. He's splitting up so everything hits at the same time. Zealots run up the ramp. Stalkers blink up as well aggressively, picking off a couple Stalkers of Jade. Zealots also shredding some damage too. Not too bad. He's getting a huge advantage at the start of this fight. Let's not forget there's two Dark Templar coming to follow it up. So it's even Stalkers to even Stalkers, but it's going to be the Dark Templar, I think, that come in and do a bit of damage afterwards.
Wow, that just was the most even fight. I was
they've
going
wiped
to say, like,
each other.
ButtPluggen comes out on top, but he really doesn't. Like, it's just so even.
They do have to be careful still. He's got the cannons he's got to worry about. So Jade's got a small advantage in that regard, but the cannons over here in the middle of nowhere, those Dark Templar can walk in through the north, and there's nothing. There's nothing.
If they can sneak around and
hell, if he just kills the cannon, kill the cannon. That's game right there. That's game. There's no more on the way. The observatory hasn't been built. He knows it. Good game. And game number 2, gonna go to ButtPluggen.